Okay, so we're gonna get started. The the first part of this tech talk was written by an AI, so I'm gonna read that off, and we will continue on from there. Imagine a world where machines can learn, reason, and make decisions just like humans. A world where your devices are not only understand your commands, but anticipate your needs before you even express them. This is the world of artificial intelligence, a rapidly evolving field that is reshaping industries, revolutionizing technology, and fundamentally altering the way we live and work. Today, I'm excited to delve into the realm of AI, exploring its incredible potential, its current applications, and the ethical considerations that come with its advancement. AI is not just a concept of the future, it's here, it's now, and it's transforming every aspect of our lives. So let's embark on this journey together as we unravel the mysteries and marvels of artificial intelligence and consider how we can navigate this brave new world responsibly and ethically. So that was entirely written by a an AI called ChatGPT, which some of you may heard of. Um, the we will get into exactly how that works. I'll show some examples so you can understand a little bit about how you can use it in your day-to-day life. So we'll start off with what is AI? AI stands for artificial intelligence. There's two kinds of AI. There is right now the one that you're hearing about in your day-to-day life is called a large language model or machine learning um, type of AI. And then the other type is called true AI, which is what you may think of from science fiction or that kind of thing. True AI is a machine that has um, that can understand, learn, and apply knowledge across a wide range of fields and studies, similar to how humans do. True AI is categorized by capabilities such as reasoning, problem solving, creativity, emotional intelligence, and adaptability. True AI at the moment does not exist as they show it in sci-fi movies or that kind of thing. It is something. It's a goal at the moment, something that we're pushing towards, but we don't really have it yet. And some people say we may never. It's a very difficult thing to do to teach a machine how to think, how to come up with its own um, ideas and talk as if you're talking to another person. What you're seeing now today is called a large language model AI. Basically, what they do is they take as much data as they can and put it into a series of computers or servers. The more data they can get, the more realistic the responses can be. But the machine isn't really thinking, it's just pulling from this data set and coming up with the best possible response that it can. Um, that's the difference between the AIs that we use today. So some examples of AIs that are in use today is ChatGPT by OpenAI, Copilot by Microsoft, Claude by Anthropic, and Gemini from Google. These are text-based AIs that are for coming up with or helping you talk in a natural manner to a computer and having it respond in a similar manner. This is the next step in uh, internet searches, that kind of thing, where uh, usually you go to Google and type a question in, and it would give you web pages that kind of matched it. The AI has taken all the data from those web pages and that it can and uses it to give you an answer in a more human lifelike kind of way. Um, let's see. So what are some of the pros and cons of AI? Pros, it can save a lot of time if you, especially if you have difficulty writing out uh, prose. If you are trying to come up with a speech, it's very helpful for those kinds of things. Um, it can help you with your daily tasks. It can remind you of important appointments, help you with shopping online, suggest recipes. Um, it is very big in safety features anymore, such as cars and home security systems. Um, they are better at detecting faces, people versus just a random shadow of a tree that might move. Um, and some can even call for help if you need it without being directed to. In healthcare, it's been a big help. It helps doctors diagnose diseases faster and can monitor health conditions using smart devices. Some of the cons, privacy concerns. So AI needs access to your information to work, and that means giving your information to corporations, which can always is always a thing you want to be careful about. Um, another con is less human interaction, whereas previously you would need to talk to somebody and specialize in their field for information. Now you can go on ChatGPT, ask it, and it may give you what you're looking for. Job displacement. AI can do some of the jobs previously done by people, leading to a lot of concerns about job opportunities. A lot of writing now is done by AI. Any articles you read, there's a good chance that they've been written by an AI and then just gone over by an editor who will check it as if it was a normal person writing the article for you. Um, and complexity and errors is another con. Um, AI can sometimes be used hard to use or make mistakes, which can be frustrating if you're not used to dealing with technology. There's a lot of examples of AI has that has gone wrong, has made mistakes, and we'll go into some of those cases a little bit later. For now, I think I'm going to show you a couple examples of how this works and how it can help you in your day-to-day life. So here we have ChatGPT. Um, ChatGPT is one of the largest language models and one of the oldest as well. They are currently on ChatGPT 4. Uh, that is a paid option to get access to that. It's bigger, faster, uh, tends to give better answers. But you can use ChatGPT 3.5 for free. So that's what we're using today. Um, so it really is as simple as coming up with something that you want to know and just typing it out in normal language. No more trying to figure out what the search engine wants to give you the web page that you want. So we'll say, give me a recipe for snickerdoodles. So after thinking for some time, it will come up with an answer. Now I don't know how to make snickerdoodles myself. If some of you do, you can tell me if this has any mistakes or if it seems legitimate to you. But this is this is the response it gives. Here's a classic recipe for snickerdoodles. For the cookie dough, you can see the ingredients there. Um, and then for the coating, sugar and ground cinnamon. And then it will even give you instructions on how to preheat the oven, how to use it. Can be much easier than going to the recipe websites where they tend to try and tell you a story before giving you the actual recipe. Makes it a little bit easier for you to get what the information you want right out of the gate. The only problems, as we said, are sometimes there are errors. So it's not something that you really want to trust with a a complex answer without knowing that the information it's giving you is good. One of the examples I like to give is there was a lawyer in Colorado who used ChatGPT to write a defense of one of his clients. As he was reading it out, unfortunately, ChatGPT had lied and came up with case studies that didn't exist. It completely made up cases, and as he said them out, the judge realized these were not real cases, and he lost his license because he didn't check his information. So what I really like to use it for is more helping me get started with a topic, or get a little bit more understanding where I can delve into different subjects on my own and learn things that way. What I'll do is something like give me basics of riding a bike, for example. So it will go through something like the Snickerdoodle one. It may pause and give you the entire thing at the same time. Something like this, where it's relatively simple, it will go through and at reading pace, it will give you the information that you want that makes to make it a little bit more palatable and a little bit easier to understand. So parts of riding a bike as stated by ChatGPT: choosing the right bike, adjusting your bike, wearing safety gear, starting and stopping, balancing, pedaling, steering, braking, safety, and practice. Now, as a person who does ride a bike, that is all very reasonable. A great place to start if you were looking to learn how to ride a bike. You can apply that same reasoning to pretty much any subject that you're interested in. Have it give you the basics of what you're looking for, and you can expand your searches from there. The other thing a lot of people use it for is simply writing something. So say you are love struck and looking to write a poem. We can say, write me a poem about love in the style of Shakespeare. So here is our poem. Now you can see when you give it things modifiers like in the style of Shakespeare, or in the style of any author that you want, it will go in and look for things that in its large language model that relate to the person you've said. As I said, Shakespeare, you see the second stanza there is in fair Verona. So that is directly from Hamlet, maybe? I don't know. I'm not great on Shakespeare. Romeo and Juliet, thank you. So reading over this, there can be some errors. There can be some stanzas that aren't quite that don't quite flow the way a normal human would write them. But it's a great start on a poem about love in the style of Shakespeare, something that you could picture him writing a couple centuries ago. So that is the basics of ChatGPT and chat modules. We'll go back to some of the case studies of things that have gone wrong in the past. There was a couple years ago, there was a story about a store from Amazon that was going to have no cashiers, no cash. You would go in, pick the things that you wanted, put it in your cart. Video cameras would record you. It would take a picture of everything that you put in your cart, add it up, and as you walked out the door, it would send you a bill electronically where you could pay. They shut those stores down. It turned out that the AI was not good enough to capture everything, and they were ended up having to use people to do it before they closed the idea down. Um, there is we've been talking about a text-based large language model. There are now other ways that AI is being used in creating pictures, in creating music, those kinds of things. Over 200 artists have signed a open letter that AI may copy their music and replace them. So there's worry from the music industry now that they're going to be replaced by AI. The writing one has been around much longer than the music and art. So it's kind of more in the general lexicon of our culture than the art or the music, which are more complicated than simple writing. Um, another thing that they've noticed is in some large language models, there has been some racial bias where a lot of the point of view is from a typical white person, where it doesn't consider how things might be different for a person of color or a different ethnicity. The other thing you may have heard of is deep fakes. So a deep fake is a where they take a collection of a person's work. We'll say Tom Cruise. They take a whole bunch of videos of Tom Cruise in his different movies. They load them into a model, and that model will put out a video. Basically, you can have an actor sitting there saying these lines, whatever you want them to say, and the computer will put on Tom Cruise's face, Tom Cruise's voice, and it will seem in the video like it is him talking, acting, doing whatever you want. Um, some of this, there's concerns for that, obviously, of um, people being framed for something that they didn't do. The good thing about the state it's in now is that it requires a lot of data to be able to do that effectively. Tom Cruise is somebody who's been in hundreds of movies. Very easy to get video of him and load it into a computer for it to put this information out. A typical person, it's going to be much more difficult to do that. Um, there was a recent court study where the courts are pushing back. There was a defense that a lawyer used that said, "How can you prove that this is not a deep fake of my client? This video you have of him breaking and entering or committing a crime." And so that's something the courts are currently considering and trying to find a solution for. Um, so the what does this cost? In terms of creating a large language model, uh, the cost is very high. It's something that is the reason that you see a lot of companies like Microsoft and Google, they have the money, they have the computing power to create something like this. It takes a lot of computing power to make a large language model for an AI. The thing that companies like OpenAI with their ChatGPT have had a couple years now to refine their process, get it better. Um, so that's why they are continuing to compete with the big tech giants like Google and Microsoft. Um, the Another cost is environmental in creating these large server farms that are required to make an AI to create the model for it. Uh, you are talking about heavy metals being used to make chips. You're talking about massive power usage. Which would be more coal or luckily a lot of them are starting to switch to solar, but It's not everybody yet. So environmental usage. Now, if you are interested in using this and it's something that you think would benefit you in your daily life, ChatGPT allows you to use their 3.5 model that we have here for free. You don't even need to have an account to sign in, but you are limited. Excuse me. You are limited in the processing power that it will give you. If it is high usage, if there's a lot of people using it at the same time, you may be put in a queue and you have to wait. Um, there are options where you can create an account and pay usually about $20 a month, sometimes a little bit more, to have priority access to these on their latest and greatest models. So for ChatGPT, that would be ChatGPT 4, and that is $20 a month. Um, it's also called ChatGPT Plus is what you pay for to have access to that. Google's Gemini is the same price. Microsoft's I forget the name of it. Copilot is tied into their licensing for Office 365. I think it's generally about $30 a month, but it also integrates into Word and Excel and all the programs that you know from Microsoft to help you to write a paper, bring up recipes, that kind of thing, without having to go to a website. You can do it right from within their programs. Um, so let's talk a little bit about image AI. There's a couple different companies doing that at the moment. The same company that does ChatGPT puts out a program called Dolly. That's included in the $20 a month if you decide to purchase that and use it. The Midjourney and Stable Diffusion are two other large ones. Today we're going to take a look at Stable Diffusion. So this is the basic website you'll get to when you go to stablediffusionweb.com. You have, for a free account, we have 8 credits left. It's 10 to start, and I believe it resets in a week. I'm not sure. I'll have to look that up. So you have options of text to image, image to image, background remover, or magic eraser, where you can change things as if you were using Photoshop or that kind of thing. So we're going to try a text to image, and we're going to say, give me a picture of a frog catching a fly on a log. You can see underneath here you have styles, so you can change it if we wanted it to be animation, if we wanted it to be line art, fantasy, that kind of thing. We can set that up. We're going to leave this very basic and see what it comes up with. It can take a few minutes. This one looks like it's going to be pretty quick. Of course, I've been wrong before. There we go. So here you see some of the issues that can be created by using image generation. Obviously, we said a frog catching a fly. It looks like the fly is a frog. So you can see where some of the if you ever hear people talking about AI images and catching people who are trying to, sometimes an influencer will change something, or actually Princess Kate, I think, did recently released an image that was doctored by AI or Photoshop, and you can tell by certain tells in the image, um, things like this are what they're talking about. Obviously, not this egregious, but um, in the same style. So some of the different things you can do with this. So let's say we'll keep this the same, and we're going to change it to animation, and we'll try an animation one of the same picture. There are, if we scroll down, there are options to create multiple pictures. So if it's something that you're not sure of the style of, you can have it make four different images. It will make four different images of the same prompt that look similar, maybe, but can be completely different. So here we have our animated flying frogs. I don't know why it is stuck on the frog having wings. I don't know what log that top left frog is trying to connect to. These are the kinds of things that you can run into problems with Stable Diffusion or Midjourney. A lot of this can be alleviated by what we call prompt engineering. By creating a prompt that is more specific, and that is more has more constraints on the AI, it will allow it to give you more closely to what you're looking for. Yeah. So if we change it to housefly, it would be probably be a better image. So we're going to try that since I still have a couple. Um, a prompt engineer is actually a upcoming job that is people have been starting to get into, that companies are hiring for, allowing them to get the right information they want from an AI without as much fuss. So let's see what this one gave us. Very similar. A couple more wings here, so that's a little closer to a housefly. But you get the idea. This is the kind of thing that it comes up with. I don't have the music one up, but we did listen to a AI generated song yesterday. I have to say it was very good. It was as you expect a pop song to be. The lyrics all made sense. It sounded good. It had a good melody. So you get a little sense there of where we are with AI. Um, the I've heard some people complain that the promise that we had in the 80s and 90s of computers replacing people tended to be replacing jobs that we didn't want to do rather than jobs that people enjoy doing, creating art, creating music, writing. So that is some music generation ones that we found. Suno.ai is a popular one, and OpenAI has the company that has ChatGPT has Jukebox for creating music. I believe that is also included in their Plus plan if you are interested in that. So yeah, that is the basics of the talk that I had for you. Okay, welcome back. So we have a lot of questions on this one. Very good to see that people are engaged. First question we have: how do you make an account for these sites? So for ChatGPT, I'll bring that back up. Down here in the lower left, you have sign up or log in. You can create an account specifically with OpenAI to allow it to have your own account. All you need is an email address, and it will send you a login for a password. You create your account, very easy. The other option is if you have a Google account already, it allows you to sign in with either your Google, Microsoft account or Apple account to use that instead of creating a new account for something. That's totally personal preference. It's the same either way if you create an account with them or if you use your Microsoft, Google, or Apple account. Is it possible for an AI to access a person's medical records information without the consent of the doctor patient? At the moment, the way that it generates information is it will reach out over the internet and basically pull as much information as it can get to. Typically, these are publicly available sites. Anything that is open on the internet, it has access to, it will pull it in. Things like medical records and x-rays, those kinds of things are usually hidden behind on a private servers for these kind of companies. A large language model doesn't have access to that, so it should not be able to pull it. That's not to say that a company can't mess up and make it so that your information is available and it can get pulled out of it, but those are generally a low chance of happening because of strong HIPAA laws within the US and laws on private health privacy that are in effect today. What's the difference between OpenAI and ChatGPT? So OpenAI is the company that runs ChatGPT. OpenAI is the head company. Their products are ChatGPT. Dolly is their image generating. Jukebox is their music generating AI. So that's when you hear OpenAI, they are an AI company doing all these different kinds of things. Please tell me how to print out the info that is generated. Okay, so let's go back to our recipe for I can't spell this. So once the information is generated, and you can see I misspelled recipe, we'll see if it gives us the accurate information. Generally, it's pretty good at determining what you're actually looking for, but we'll see when it's done. So once it's done, in the bottom left for ChatGPT, there is a little button that allows you to copy everything. You can also just drag your mouse over it, copy it, and then paste it into a Word document or that kind of thing. But there is a button at the bottom left that is just a copy text, and you can paste that into a new document. I might have confused it with my misspelling. All right, well, that works. What info yep, there we go. So this is the button I was telling you about anyway for that question. This is the copy button. You can copy this and then just paste it into a open document, open the notepad document, or if you have Word, that kind of thing. But that's the button right there. And this is this internal server error, not to gloss over, is one of the pitfalls of using the free version of ChatGPT. If it doesn't have enough resources to give you your answer, you may get that. So we'll try and regenerate and see. No, it is pretty persistent. Let's refresh. Try. Sorry. No, it's so yeah, this is the things that you can run into with the free account where it's not connecting to the server, that kind of thing. With the paid version, you have priority access. What info to feed AI to get a speech? So something like the prompt engineer version of that would be say, write me a speech, and you want to give it constraints to help you get what you're looking for. So write me a speech welcoming students to a new year at Lehigh University, that kind of thing. Write me a speech congratulating a opponent on a victory, that kind of thing. The more you play with it, the more you'll find the useful things that will help you get the information that you want. You can say a specific style if you want it in a great orator, Martin Luther King, Shakespeare, that kind of thing. If you're looking for something like that, if you have somebody in mind that is a very good speaker and you want it in that kind of style, put that in, and it will take that into account while it's creating its information. Do AI companies ever get royalties when AI is used by an artist to create works of art, music, literature, dance, cuisine? So this is one of the pitfalls of AI. AI companies do not get royalties. They get their money through venture capital because it is a growing field, or they get it through people paying for their accounts. Companies like OpenAI also will sell what's called their API. They'll sell their back end, their large language model, to another company that allows them to connect into it and use the information on their own with their own front end. So they would not have, it wouldn't look like this. It would look like whatever they want it to look like. The problem with it is that it will take all this stuff. Say you have a webcomic by a person. One artist is doing a simple webcomic that people enjoy. They make their money either through ads on their website or people paying them directly for enjoying their content. Most of that information is publicly available on the internet. Anybody can go to that website, go through their comics and read them and enjoy them. That also means that they are available for these companies to pull this information down, which is a current issue that people are running into, where they're saying that these AI companies are stealing their art, they're stealing their work, and using it to allow people to make similar copies in the vein of these artists. I've seen I can't remember the artist's name. There was a specific artist where if you put in the style of this artist, it will give you almost identical things to how they draw their art. It was kind of simple art, but it was also very unique. So people were creating art that looked a lot like something that they would create. I believe they're one of the people who have joined in on trying to create what they call guardrails for AI. Unfortunately, we didn't have laws in time to stop these from being made. So a lot of that information has already been pulled, and putting the genie back in the bottle at this point is going to be very difficult. But personally, I believe it's something that we need to figure out, because it's a lot of people's livelihoods that are on the line here. When submitting a resume, is it possible to pad your resume with AI and detect if a resume has been enhanced with AI? So two completely different questions there. We are going to, we'll see if this is working again. So you can see here, it is giving the basics of a resume. I told it to make a resume for a job in technology. So it tells you the basics of what you want to put in, and it gives you an option for objective here. It tells you to put your education, relevant coursework, your skills. A lot of this is great. Is a great basis for a resume. This is obviously you would need to take this information, format it, put your own stuff in. But you can have it give you information that say specific design information that you can put into your resume or that kind of thing. Detecting is another thing entirely. That is a more complicated thing to detect it in text, because the text tends to flow very well and bring you to a more lifelike document. I heard a thing about a teacher who had essays that were being collected, and some of the essays were almost identical because people had used AI with a very specific or similar theme and gotten very similar documents that were put out. That's one way to detect them. Otherwise, you just have to, it's all about looking at the information. So somebody, if you're a hiring manager, excuse me, you would use that resume to ask somebody more specifics about something they put on a resume. If they're lying, it's something that you may be able to suss out. Of what value was AI software before the internet? AI software is very new. It's I believe the first versions of ChatGPT were 2022. So didn't exist before the internet. The if you're thinking of movies and the like, they were facsimiles, in the word I'm looking for. And what is meant by AI hallucination is our last question. So AI hallucination is basically what I was talking about, where it can lie to you, like the story I was telling you about the false lawyer and the lawyer precedents for cases. The hallucination is their term for it, and instead of saying it lied, it hallucinated. The definition of it is a phenomenon wherein a large language model, often a generative AI chatbot or computer vision tool, perceives patterns or objects that are non-existent or imperceptible to humans, creating outputs that are nonsensical or altogether inaccurate. So that's what they describe as a hallucination. It's just a lie. And we did have one last question come in. What is generative AI? That is exactly what we've been talking about. It's to say another term for the same thing. Generative AI is something that an AI that generates content. It will talk to you like a person. It will for something like ChatGPT, we can say, "How are you today?" And we'll see what it gives back. You can have conversations with it. It's meant to mimic a human response. And there's specific chatbots that are meant for this. I know Microsoft had one, and I believe it's still available. But yeah, generative AI is what we talk about when we're talking about a large language model type AI. Doesn't look like it's getting back to me today, but they are probably pretty busy. Okay, so that is everything I had. That's all the questions I had. Thank you all very much for coming.